Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. And as always, we give peace and salutations unto the elect. And I wanted to do a response to this video here. All right, done by the Elder Apostle Tahar. All right, his YouTube handle here, GMS Declaring the End. Subscribe if you haven't. A lot of the pages are being taken down. All right, so just stay in the loop, and updates will come. All right, when a new page comes. But the title of the video is Part 1: Rockin' Fringes is not gonna save your ass. All right, the mark or the MOTB. All right, which you should know what that is. If you don't know, read Revelation 13, and I believe around the 16th verse, okay, on down, which is a vision that, John the Revelator saw while on the Isle of Patmos of what the beast system would do, all right, at the very end of their reign, to try to gain world or Godhead in the earth. All right. If they're able to complete this plan, then that makes them God on earth. They're able to pretty much have control over what spirits, when they're born, when they, are alive, when they die or whatever, he'll have everything you do on a grid. And people like us, when it's all said and done, we won't even be around. And that's if he's able to complete this plan. All right. Generations down the line, there will be no remembrance of the Bible of the Most High. Okay. And he's in the beginning processes of establishing that. And we can clearly see what's happening on the earth. And this guy here, which was a part of the old One West, came up to these particular brothers. I don't know exactly who these brothers are. Let's see here. We can, as they're preaching, about the mark of the beast. Okay. This guy comes up and he says he used to be a part of the old, school. As you can see here, he's still rocking the fringes. Now, overall, there's nothing wrong with fringes. Fringes are a beautiful thing. But you have camps, all right, that treat fringes as if they're going to get you salvation. All right. Now, really quick to understand the fringes, because at the end of the day, I wanted to also just speak overall on this spirit of these older men who were once in the fold, who were once teaching, and then after the year 2000, which the whole school taught that at that time, that the world was going to end at that point, a lot of them fell off. Okay, and that even happened when Yahweh Shai came on the scene. You had particular Israelites who thought that once he came, all right, that was it. They thought the kingdom was coming at that time, and a lot of them grew depressed. All right, and that's the narrative surrounding the book of Hebrews. All right, also in 2 Thessalonians, Paul, okay, he says, "Let no man deceive you." All right, the end ain't gonna come until there be a complete falling away, and the man of sin be revealed, which has happened and fulfilled in these times. Okay, but overall, after that year 2000, a lot of these men scrambled and fell away from the faith. All right. You had particular men who continued in the faith. All right. And, eventually started to load their videos up on YouTube 7 years later. Okay. And that's where that great awakening came from. All right. Which has led, all right, to what you see now. All right. And it was spearheaded through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua by the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who had been teaching prior to being on the internet. They were still teaching. All right, for that whole, from the year 2000 to 2007, even before that, they were still teaching. I believe they were kicked out of the old school. But either way it goes, these niggas here left us for dead. Okay, you all left us for dead, and now you see the camps being raised up, and you want to put your fringes on, okay, or see camps preaching and walk up spewing nonsense. Now, as I said, this guy walked up on these brothers, okay, which I don't know exactly what camp it is, but they're teaching the truth from what I see. And, he came up to them speaking madness. And as you can see, he has the fringes on, which a lot of guys idolize the fringes as if that's their way to salvation. Now, as we always say, the fringes are a beautiful thing, okay? But when you go into the purpose of them, all right, for you to boast in those fringes means that you're boasting in the fact that you need to look at those fringes to remember not to sin. Okay, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Then you had this clown, okay, walk up on, the brothers in New York, all right, who were preaching this weekend. And here he comes up, all right, preaching a Negro-only doctrine. Okay? Now, these men have left us for dead. Okay? They were nowhere to be found. Okay? When this word caught fire, all right, and the apostles and elders started to put their videos on YouTube, you had Nate, you had Rakhov of GOCC, and ironically, both of them in 2007 were calling on the name of Yahweh, okay, and Yahweh Shai. But what happened? I wonder what happened. And anyway, of course, Zabak, which he's always out there. He's known for always going out on the streets. I believe they used to go out 5 to 7 days a week at one point. They eventually start loading up to YouTube. And ISUPK Johanna would pop up here and there screaming, but overall, the fervency for us younger men to learn this word and go out and teach came from the apostles and elders, man. Okay, and there were a few other faces around, like we always say. Nate, he was loading videos up, because he goes back to that old school as well, but he was charging, extra for extra breakdowns. If you wanted the rest of the video, it would be a 5-minute, 7-minute video, and then pretty much you would have to pay for the rest. Now, I remember hitting him up when YouTube had inbox. Okay, YouTube used to be totally different, and then told him I didn't have the money, but I want to learn, and he sent me some DVDs. That was the around the time DVDs were hot, the G. Craig Lewis era. When Jake started to kind of awaken and see that certain things were wicked, and I was going through that change, and then the Lord led me to seeing the apostles and elders. I would listen to some of Nate's teachings before he went left, and then you had Rakah, who's now the head of GOCC. All right, but they were teaching the truth, but we didn't see none of these men. Okay, this guy right here, this guy right here, and the mass majority of the older men who pop up as they see us younger men out preaching, and then they come up telling us we're doing it the wrong way. Now, where the hell have you been? And why don't you have a platform that we could have learned from? Pretty much you niggas just left us for dead, man. And you're likened unto the foolish virgins. Okay, now you see the title, all right, Rockin' Fringes ain't gonna save your ass, because, pretty much the brothers are teaching about the mark of the beast. Okay? And he starts mocking it. See if we can listen to a little bit of that. Because the mark is here, man. Anyone teaching contrary to the truth, man, you bugged out. It ain't no, oh man, well they teach the truth, but they just off on that, man. Y'all just off, man. A little leaven it and leaven it the whole lump. So you men need to repent, okay, and acknowledge what's true, or eventually the Lord is just going to continuously drain you of the Holy Spirit, man.
Let's listen to some more.
Something important as mark the beast. Alright, so the word mark, to know what the mark of the beast is, because what they teach is not the art fighting shit. It's not the art fighting shit.
You're saying what IUIC?
What IUIC teaches is not the art fighting shit.
Yeah, IUIC teaches that it's Christianity. They teach the image of the beast is a picture of white Jesus. All right, very basic and weak breakdowns that don't hold any weight. Okay, we've broke down through the spirit what the image of the beast was. Okay, and its connection to the ancient Roman Empire and the system. Okay, the government. Okay, and everything pretty much you see here in Babylon the Great ties to the ancient Roman Empire. That image, which is what you see, what is living before you, all right, is speaking and living through America, which is Babylon the Great, the NATO and the EU. All right, when you look at the EU countries, all right, as it started off, it's the exact, okay, it's identical to the same areas for the most part that were ran by the ancient Roman Empire. Look it up. Just type in ancient Roman Empire territory, then type in EU nation territory, and you'll see that pretty much the only thing added, which there are other nations aligned, you know, with the EU, but you'll see America and Canada. Okay. But pretty much it's the ancient Roman Empire living again. That's the image. Okay. You have coliseums, you have shopping malls. All of these things go back to the ancient Roman Empire. Okay. Which pretty much what headed it was the Greeks. It's where you get the gym, which gymnos means naked. They used to work out naked in their gymnasiums. Okay, you see the Jake following after these Greek fraternities. All of that goes back to the Hellenization period, man. Okay, so the ways of the Greco-Roman, okay, the image of the Greco-Roman Empire lives and speaks today through Babylon the Great, the NATO and the EU. And they all are blessed with the sword. Because Esau Edom runs this modern day Babylon the Great. Okay, so the image of the beast is far more than just a damn image of Caesar Borgia. Now that is a part of the deception, all right, that comes from the image of the beast. Okay, their lies, their science, their medicine, okay, their philosophies, you know, which were all birthed back into the earth during the Renaissance period. Okay. And then you have the mark, see, which they say that it's a philosophy or a religion, Christianity, which Christianity is the last thing on this devil's mind in 2021. We don't see a system being implemented to where in order to buy and sell, all right, you have to follow Christianity or bow to the image of white Jesus. We don't see that being set up. But what we do see is exactly what John the Revelator described in Revelation, the 13th chapter. Now, just play a little bit more. Because at the end of the day, you know, these foolish virgins popping back up, you know, you all left us for dead. And now that, you know, the Lord has given the truth to babes, okay, you want to pop up as if you're some type of authority. And for you to pop up with a Negro-only doctrine shows you don't have the oil. You through. But I teach on Facebook, and I don't. Nah, man. You. If once you put your hand on the plow, you were supposed to keep going, man.
All right, so the word mark goes into the word paragma. All right, and then go deeper into the word, which is the root of the word.
What's the name?
This is GMS.
Oh, GMS.
Yeah,
Oh,
GMS.
what? You heard what he said? He said, oh, no wonder. Oh, no wonder.
Yeah, no wonder you talking about the mark of the beast, because that's all GMS talk about. Well, that's prophecy, all right? And these prophecies would be rumors, as the book of Jeremiah 51 says, until the point they finally hit. So yeah, the prophets are going to sound like a broken record. We're going to constantly bring up the MOB or the MOTB. We're going to constantly warn. We're going to constantly go into articles because that's the news. But there's going to come a point where the word of the Lord through the prophets hits, and we're living at that point. Okay?
So this guy is obviously, whether he was a One West or whatever, if he came in at one time and he didn't do the work, or he never did the work, or he did the work and he turned his back on the plow, just because you rock fringes don't make you want to be elect. Because you're going to see that he got fringes on. Most High going to destroy a lot of y'all.
Now, the fringes, real quick, I want to bring this out just so you Israelites understand. When you put the fringes on, you're boasting in disobedience, because that's what the fringes were set for. Now, having fringes on your clothes is not wicked, okay? But that was one of the things. Show me where Yahweh Shai, when he came on the scene, he started asking particular people, where your fringes at? Where your fringes at? He actually spoke against that spirit. All right. Now, just wearing them, all right, that, ultimately that's on you. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at the purpose of why the Lord told us to put fringes on, okay, that's nothing to boast in at the end of the day. So this is Numbers, because pretty much what the fringes were set for is because so Israel can have something to look at, just like you said, a reminder. Because sometimes we're in this flesh, we forget to pray. So brothers set a reminder to pray. Well, the fringes were a reminder not to go off. That's what they were for. Okay? Now we have the spirit. The fringes are in your mind, because you don't have to look at the fringes, okay, to know not to commit adultery. Or better yet, here's another one. This is Numbers 15:32. It says, and while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. Okay, now, according to the law, you're not to do any work on the Sabbath day. The Sabbath day is to be holy. But ironically, the schools that push the fringes the most, all right, IUIC, One Body Yahweh Shai, Sakari, because he's one of those, law guys, ironically. But then their works don't add up with the vibe they're pushing, because here it is, you push the law, which the law is a beautiful thing, but we can't fulfill the law perfectly in this flesh and in America, period. Okay? Because some brothers are going to have to work on the Sabbath. You're not going to be able to leave your house when your woman's on her cycle if you live with a woman. Right, these are things that ultimately, this is why we need mercy. But you do what you can do. All right, even with the eating of unclean foods, the scriptures say, when you read down in Leviticus, the 11th chapter, if something is cooked on the same stove, okay, then you're still going off. So you go to a restaurant, they don't have, they don't only cook clean foods. You go to these butchering places where you get the meat butchered. They don't only butcher clean foods. Now you can go to a halal, place, all right, but they'll still serve shrimp. Or even if they don't, who are they praising it to? They're praising it to another god. Okay, it's not to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's not to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. So all of our food is defiled and offered unto idols here. All right, but ironically, the camps that push the fringes, which is where the story originated. This is where the fringes originated in this story. One is saying you can have sex on the Sabbath, IUIC, all right, which is wicked, off. Teach the new moon is the full moon. All right, teaching a permanent Friday sundown to Saturday sundown Sabbath. All right, which, at the end of the day, it is what it is, but that's just not true. If the new moon, the new moon, which is day one of any Hebrew month, okay, and that's a proven fact, the day one of any Hebrew month, okay, is the new moon, okay? That's how we determine our holy days, our weeks. So if day one is the beginning of the month, the new moon, how else can you determine the Sabbath? So if the new moon falls on a Sunday sundown, you telling me the Sabbath for that week could still be Friday sundown to Saturday sundown permanently? It doesn't make sense, man. But anyway, you got one teaching you can have sex on the Sabbath, and then you have another who parties like it's 1999, okay, on a high holy day that is a Sabbath at sundown, the Passover. So you guys are full of shit, man. And the Heavenly Father is fed up with your wickedness. This is why all of this stuff is happening. Got to humble down, man. So they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath, and they that found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and to the congregation, and they put him in a ward. He was under investigation, all right, because it was not declared what should be done to him. All right, imagine living and him being held to this standard in this time. We'd all be dead. We'd all be in a ward right now, getting ready to get stoned. And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death, and the congregation shall stone him with stones without account. He got stoned for picking up sticks on the Sabbath. Okay? That's why you need the mercies of David. Okay? You need the mercies of David, man. Who I believe he did something with, he got showbread, he did some on the Sabbath, and the Lord had mercy on him, man. And how should I cut them with that? Because David and Abraham cuts you law guys. Okay? We got to be perfect in the law. There's no way. So that's why we have the faith of Abraham and the mercies of David. You realize what that means? It says, and all the congregation brought him without the camp. And I'm just turned on the video, man. Lord willing, is edifying. As the Lord commanded Moses. So he was stoned with stones for picking up sticks on the Sabbath, right? So this was the order after that. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put on the fringe of the borders and a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe. Okay? This was the purpose of the fringes, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord to do them. Because Jake kept going off in the wilderness. They kept going off. So what did the Lord say? Put them fringes on the borders of your garments, because you're always putting on your garments. You're always going to see them. Okay, and they weren't T-shirts. They had actual, all right, garments, and the garment couldn't be of mixed material. So if we want to nitpick in the law, we can go forever, and none of us would get anywhere. But the purpose is this: the fringes were what? That ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your eyes, which ye used to go a whoring, that ye may remember to do all my commandments and be holy unto your God. Now, how many of these Israelites who boast in those fringes have to look at those fringes to know not to eat pork? And here it is, you have the fringes on, and you commit even more iniquity. With the fringes on, you do the BS that you do. So the what the Lord is looking for is the inward man. The inward man, or the inner man. Let's see if we can find something. Romans 7:22. For I delight in the law of God after the inward man. Okay? For which cause, 2 Corinthians 4:16, for which cause we faint not, But though our outward man perish, the inward man is renewed day by day. That's what the Lord is looking for, your inward man, your fight, your intent. Okay? And we all fall short, but what's your intent? To do better or to just continue in sin? The Proverbs 20 and 27, the spirit of man is the candle of Yahweh, searching all the inward parts of the belly. So you can have on the fringes, right? You can have on the fringes, but inwardly you full of shit, man. And that's the mass majority of the people who have these fringes on. Now, not everybody, of course. You have sincere brothers and sisters who have the fringes on. But we got to keep it real. The ones who focus on those fringes, like the friend, where your fringes, how I'm gonna know you're an Israelite. That's what the one body cat said to a sincere brother of our camp. How I'm gonna know you're an Israelite if you ain't got the fringes. Well, you have a conversation, and his inward man will prove that he's of the faith. And the angels know who's right and wrong, and it's not by the fringes, because you have a doctrine that if you don't have the fringes on when the Lord returns, then you're going to be put to death. So you all focus on the outward man. Let's get that. Show you this was a spirit of those guys back then. Matthew 23 and 5. But all their works they do to be seen of men, for they make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments. There you go. They was doing that back then and going around. You got to be perfect in the law. The law. But they didn't have any grace. They didn't have any mercy. Okay, they weren't brotherly. They walked around with this high-minded attitude, and they loved to have men and women in captivity unto their madness. They would take the law, okay, and go into the letters of the law and make laws based upon laws and laws. It was no way back to the Heavenly Father, man. So Yahweh Shai did us the Most High Yahweh did us a favor and gave us a grace period, man. Because right now we're not in a covenant, okay? The law still stands, but we're under grace, okay? Let's get that. And this is why Paul's writings make certain people mad. Romans 6 and 14, for sin shall have no dominion over you, for ye are not under the law, but under grace. Now, during this grace period, all right, which is a period where we could offer up a sacrifice in an unclean state, just like Abraham, who was uncircumcised, all right, when he was Abram, okay, once he, woke up, he was awakened to his heritage as the son of God, okay, or one of the sons of God, okay, and what did he do? He moved with fervency, and he kept the laws, okay. Now, in this grace period, sin should not have dominion over you. That should not, all right, be the end all be all of who you are. Okay, you don't waste your grace period on being a nigga, just a sinner. What then shall we sin because we are not under the law but under grace? God forbid. So the law still stand. The law is forever. All right, but we're not in the first covenant because we broke it. We're under grace to be entered into the second covenant when the laws will be entered into our inward part. Remember that. So this high-mindedness in the law, okay, in these fringes, okay, you need to check that, because if you really want to go to judging and our judgment being by that first covenant, then your ass, you're going to suffer the same fate as that guy who picked up those sticks. Okay, because you ain't floating, okay, on some in your room, okay, with the Bible playing on loop on the Sabbath day here in Babylon the Great. Okay, Romans 2, all right, and 28. For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is circumcision, all right, that which is outward in the flesh, and that's what they were boasting in, the works of their hands, the things that they could do, the temple, right? So now we see why these men had a problem with Yahushua and why they have a problem with him today. Okay? But he that is a Jew is one inwardly. Okay? This don't mean you can jump from being a Moabite to being a Jew. And now you're an Israelite. No. Okay, this means your spirit got to be right. Okay, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart and the spirit and not of the letter, whose praises of not of men but of God, because the heavenly Father sees the inward man, whereas you could act like you perfect in the law and boast in the law all day, but who are you inwardly, and what is the end all be all of your inward man? Okay, let me get a quick one. Philippians 3:3, for we are of the circumcision, which worship the Most High in spirit and rejoice in Yahushua HaMashiach and have no confidence in the flesh. Okay? Meaning we know that these carnal ordinances and these things that we have received cannot save us. Yeah, we can tap into them. Yeah, you can put the fringes on each of your clothing. All right? But if you want to get tit for tat in the law, you lose, because the law condemns you, and all of your garments must have a particular, forget the, it should either be linen or it's another, So at the end of the day, guys who think that the fringes are going to save them, you're sadly mistaken. And it's one thing to have the fringes on, and that's just your faith. But then it's another thing to start to condemn and tell people their salvation is going to be based on those fringes alone, when those fringes are going to be burned up. Okay, the only thing coming up out of this place is the spirits that's within the servants of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, and you should focus on building that up, okay, over these carnal ordinances, man. Now let's listen to a little bit more.
I don't know him from being out on the streets. I don't know who this guy is. I know he's not out there on the streets. He's not doing the will of the Most High. He's not on the highways and the byways. Preach the word, be in season, be in season, out of season. Now you got guys like IUIC, they take, in cold climates, they take their seasonal Israelites, they take the whole winter off.
Yeah, you got brothers who teach around these guys, or these guys teach around brothers. Because it's funny, you'll set up a camp, as we did here in Dallas, right? And it's ironically that spot where we at, Jake was hung right there. So it's the spirit. Maybe one of us was that Jake who got hung, and everybody gathered there. Now we're there in the Pegasus. But, years after us preaching, you start going up the street where we used to preach, and you'll see IUIC, and then you have these other groups. But then you'll notice when it's cold, they not there. They're nowhere to be found. Then they'll pop back up in, the cooler, warmer weather, okay, telling the black woman she needs to stop wearing pants. It's the type of guys we dealing with here, man. Hey, but it is what it is,
I know that's what we go back. So I understand what he's going on. So hard talks like you can break down the girl, the Lord, all that crap. I got that. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He's got the emotions. Can you imagine if the Lord gave this man a son, and the Lord said, "You got to sacrifice your son"? Could you imagine? Oh no, we ain't doing no, not today, not today. Leave these motherfuckers alone. If you can't get the truth, leave them the fuck alone, man.
That's it. Hey, well, let's get it. Let the filthy be filthy, man. And you guys coming around the videos, asking the same questions and being demons. Man, get the hell up out of here, man. This is Revelation 22, man. Get out of here, man. Go get your own oil. Y'all know our stance. Let's see here. And we're under the law of the Spirit. We're commanded to be in the Spirit. Walking in the Spirit fulfills the law. All right. The final message, Revelation 22:10. And he said unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the times is at hand. We ain't supposed to seal the prophecies. Here it is. You got Israelite groups that are very silent on what's going on. But every time you look up, they got some new rap video, or they got some new thing, or some new cologne, or shoes, oils. I got this, I got that. We doing this, we doing a barbecue. We got this, we got that. But when it comes to what the Lord got going on, they're kind of silent. They debating Christians and cutting up, low-level clowns. Which for a time is entertaining. But the gospel is more than that. See, it's time for now. Look, we're supposed to what? Conceal not, as the book of Jeremiah, the 50th chapter says, man. Publish the sayings of this book and conceal not. Okay? And that's what's going to put you at the threat of imminent death. We're supposed to be pushing hard against the image of the beast. Okay? A lot of you've been paid off from what I'm seeing, man. But only the Lord knows the inward man, and that's the beauty of it. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still, and he that is filthy, let him be filthy still, and he that is righteous, let him be righteous still, and he that is holy, let him be holy still. All right, there you go. At this point, we're only worried about those who are sincere about learning. Okay, it's nothing wrong with questions if you're sincere, but all of you bug outs popping up, hey, go get your own oil. Okay? Hey, the truth is here. The new song is being sung somewhere. Now, if we're not singing it in its purest 100% form, then there's somebody else somewhere who's doing it. We will see. All right? But for you clowns popping up out of nowhere, okay, with that Sinbad spirit, okay, I was like, I did this, or telling your sob story about how you got done at the old school and they was mean, and Abba Bivens and this and the 12 tribes chart ain't right, the northern and southern kingdom, yada yada yada. Because here it is, you got clowns, this Negro only doctrine that say, well, only Judah, Benjamin, and Levi are in Babylon the Great. Okay, but the rest of the tribes are scattered. Now, we have Israelites that are scattered all throughout the four corners of the earth, man. Okay? But the great awakening would happen over here, okay, in the northwestern hemisphere. Okay? And that's where the bulk of the prophesying would be done. But we have people all over this world, man, and the Lord's going to gather those too. You may even have brothers teaching somewhere who don't have a camera, okay, and the Spirit's on them. I believe that that's happening, okay? But the focus of prophecy would be over here in Babylon the Great. Now, when you get Jeremiah, the 3rd chapter, in the 17th verse, it says, and at that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of Yahweh, and all nations shall be gathered unto it, unto the name of the Lord, okay? All nations, all right, are going to have to learn the truth from the Israelites, starting at Yahushua and the 144. Okay, and the large multitudes after them. Okay, and when the heathen see us, they're gonna acknowledge and know that we're the sons and daughters of the Most High Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, man. And they're gonna bow. Okay, to Jerusalem. All right, which Christians, where's their? They never deal with the prophecies of the children of Israel, northern and southern kingdom returning unto Jerusalem. They don't deal with the prophecy. The last time we were a whole nation, okay, was under King David, and Solomon forwarded the throne of David, all 12 tribes, for 40 years. We were sovereign. We were a government. That's the last standing government of the Hebrew Israelites. Okay? Hasn't been one since then. The next one is going to be under the second Adam, all right, or the second Solomon, you could call, which is Yahushai, the King of Peace. That's the next kingdom, and all 12 tribes are going to be gathered, okay, together, okay, under him. Now, it says, neither shall they walk anymore after the imagination of their evil heart, showing you that this is speaking of the latter days, all right? Now, before that, what's going to happen? In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel. So that's northern and southern kingdom. Okay, and if all of these so-called Latinos, so-called natives are heathen, how in the hell do they know the gospel? Because that's another thing. Sakari said that the GMS got white boys in the camp. Well, now how in the hell? All right, now if you don't know, you just pray on it. Like, man, I don't think this brother's a Jake. If you watching, I don't think he. But the thing above all is, how in the hell are they knowing and teaching the doctrine and faithful to the calling if they're actual heathen? Have you ever thought about that? See, this is why you have to walk in the spirit. See, here it is. These niggas want to throw away what is happening to insert their belly, the Negro only doctrine. And the people who teach the Negro only doctrine, they're not prophesying. They ain't going nowhere. They're just black. After they tell you they're black and everybody's black, what else do you learn? Fopi even had a black party. Like we going, you know, a Negro only party. You come as Doritos and orange soda, macaroni and cheese. Quanath at the front door looking you up and down. And the only thing that matters is if you dark skinned. Okay, outside of that, then what? How does that tie to what's happening? Because what's happening is you got brothers and sisters that look like all nations waking up. They're not a part of the fold. They're not, their sacrifice, the men that are out teaching, their sacrifice don't count because they're not black. Then a lot of you niggas who teach this Negro only doctrine teach that the heathen can be saved. So it's really no pleasing these niggas, man. Really, as they say, the one of the men of the Lord at the old school used to say, if a nigga can't get it, I believe it's the Yaikwab, High Priest Yaikwab or Elder Yaikwab. If a nigga can't get it, we moving on, man. And here it is in these latter days, the spirit is on brothers, man. Okay, sisters are even waking up. The gospel is, you know, I mean, it's in its perfection. The new song is perfect. And you niggas pop up out of nowhere, out of a tree, leaving the gym or leaving some goddamn, you know, Whole Foods or whatever the hell. And you pop up with your version of the gospel. Get your old black ass out of here, man. And there's nothing wrong with being old, but when you an old nigga, then that makes it worse, man. Because you're trying to undo the rebuilding of the tabernacle of David, man. Get your ass out of here. So Judah and Israel shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given them for an inheritance to your fathers. Wow. So where's the land of the north? I dare you say ancient Babylon, because ancient Babylon was likened unto the land of the north, right? In certain scriptures. But Judah and Israel didn't walk out of that captivity together. It was only Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Israel, all right, the northern kingdom was already over here in the Americas. Okay? And the Lord sent Esau to judge their asses. Okay? Then we were brought on slave ships along with some of the northern kingdoms. Because when you go into history and you really look it up, a lot of so-called Native Americans were on those slave ships as well. Okay? They just weren't highly coveted after as Judah. Okay? But they were there. Okay? Jeremiah 16 and 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of the Egypt, but Yahweh liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither I have driven them, and I will bring them again to the land that I gave their fathers. So the great deliverance is going to be from the land of the north. And we are living in the northwestern hemisphere, Babylon the Great. Okay, the uttermost part. Okay, the hindermost, as it says, shall be a desolation. Okay. Jeremiah 50, which this is speaking of Babylon the Great. Your mother, okay, which is the British, okay, that seventh head on which Babylon the Great came out of, which is the eighth, which is of the seven. It says, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness and a dry land and a desert. Okay, and when you look at a map, okay, where's the hindermost part? Okay, Babylon the Great. Okay. Hey, as a matter of fact, Yahweh told the men of the Lord that they're going to go and prophesy over here. What was that, Acts 1? Acts 1 and 8. But ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and in the uttermost part of the earth. Okay? Uttermost part of the earth, man. I never looked this up, and I'm just doing it, just because we're here. Okay. Eschatos, the end. Okay. The last extreme. And this is Babylon the Great. Last in time or place. And what's the last captivity? In the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, it's Babylon. Okay. In the Bible, it's Edom. The final captivity will be Esau, Edom, who controls Babylon the Great. Last in temporal succession. All right. And when you read Daniel, the 7th chapter, it gives you the temporal rulerships of the heathen. The last one will be that little horn. Okay. That will wear out the saints. All right. But the Lord, okay, will raise up the prophets in Babylon. Okay, of both northern and southern kingdom. As a matter of fact, let's get Jeremiah, the 29th chapter. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Jeremiah 29 and 15. Because ye have said, the Lord hath raised us up prophets in Babylon. Okay. And to prove that this is the end, verse 14, I will be found of you, saith Yahweh, and I will turn away your captivity and will gather you from all the nations and will place and from all the places whither I have driven you, saith the Lord, and I will bring you again to the place where I have caused you to be carried away captive, because ye have said, the Lord have raised us up prophets in Babylon. Oh, man. Know that thus saith the Lord of the king that sitteth upon the throne of David, that all of the people that dwelleth in this city and of your brethren that are not gone forth with you in the captivity, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will begin to send, all right, upon them the sword, famine, pestilence, and will make them like vile figs, all right, that cannot be eaten. They are so evil. And that's you niggas, man. Okay, and there's another, similar to where Jeremiah uses this very Jeremiah 24, man. These evil figs which cannot be eaten. And that's Jake, man. Okay? These wicked, wannabe OGs who pop up trying to tell us what we should teach. Nigga, where you been? Anyway, I was going to go into the wise and foolish virgins, but, the point was made, man. Let's listen to a little bit more here.
You got no business debating nobody. Like you got Captain Desire constantly debating people, and this guy Garfield want to debate him. He don't want to debate him now. Man, I wouldn't. Man, look. If you can't get it, I'm moving on. Hey, Yaquab said it. If a nigga can't get it, we moving on. We're not here to debate. We're not here to. If you're open to the truth, you're gonna get the truth. If you're not open up to the truth, we're gonna close the door on your ass, man. Ultimately, the Most High is gonna close the door on you. This guy came. There's a lot of men and women that were part of One West that went back into the world. So in the back of their mind, they know that they're Israelites, but they're gonna be destroyed.
I know him very well. I don't know what happened to him, but I would say you will know what it's like that. And the people are saying they all tell you the same thing.
This dude's walking around with the gloves, a mask, with fringes on. Like, you can't even have a conversation. Your faith is so low, you can't even, the fact you're in the presence of men who are reading it, you couldn't even take your dang mask off to have a conversation, man.
And these brothers did the right thing. They said you can just go. That's the attitude you got to take. We're only dealing with the elect. We're only dealing with the elect. If you perceive that somebody's not of the elect, leave him alone. The Apostle Paul said, it speaks about let him be ignorant. What is that? 1 Corinthians, the 14th chapter. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Try to get them to walk down the street. We don't got time for people like that. This guy's full of emotions.
That's an allegation you already got. How we got videotapes of him saying it on there, man? What you talking about? We got videotapes with him on 34th Street or 34th Street saying that, bro. What you talking about? We're not.
And he's emotional because he's not one of the elect. He might have stepped through the doors of Wont.
And they try to bring up rape and this and that, because they know that they're full of shit. So that's their only comeback. Rape. Or didn't they say this? Or didn't they, well, nigga, what have you said? And that whole rape thing has been broken down millions of times. If you can't get that at this point, then it is what it is, man. Really what bugs people out about that is the word rape itself. Really, which when you think of rape, you think of what Esau does to a woman. Beating the shit out of her. Cutting her fingers off. Biting her nipples off. Just being a complete, will put the mask on and come out of a tree. It was on some serial killer shit. Just the word rape in its purest form just means to grab, to seize. Just like your played out ass dude when you go to the club with that watered down drink, okay, sucking your stomach in, walking around the club looking for some a chick, and then when one of them makes eye contact with you, sometimes the spirit get on you. You hey, come here, you coming with me tonight? Okay, and you take it. I mean, she didn't get her ass beat. Where do you think the term swept her off her feet comes from? Where a man would see a woman he liked in the ancient world and he would sweep her up, okay, and take her away for a full moon cycle. And come back and they're husband and wife. So really, you emotional ass Western punk ass You know, you all are the problem, man. This Western Israelite, you know, it don't matter. You cannot teach the book or understand it if you think according to how things are here in the West. It just won't. There's going to come a point where the spirit and the flesh clashes and you get emotional, and that's what happens with a lot of you guys. And it's no longer working on the elect. It's no longer working because you push that whole, oh, they rapists. They teaching you could rape 12. The people who got sense and who the spirit is on, they look past that. Like, all right, man. You had a brother, man, who listens to us. He said that's how he started to watch, because he kept seeing that people were saying we raped 12-year-old girl. He was like, you know what? What did he mean by that? He saw the polite and apostles. He was, what do they mean by that? And he looked further into it, and he got the understanding. And now look. So when you get past the flesh, okay, and walk in the spirit, man, the Lord will open you up, man. But that was a stumbling block put out there that men could use, so you could just be whack as hell, not do anything, then, or you can be teaching any goddamn thing you want, but then when you get called out, you can rape, and everybody's supposed to just throw, oh man, everything, all the bullshit you doing out of the window, and then focus on us raping 12-year-old girls. What type? You niggas ain't shit, man. Anyway, man.
On West, he might have fringes on. He might say shalom, but that doesn't make him the elect. All you camps and you groups out there that's teaching contrary concerning the MOTB, you're gonna look like fools, man.
We already do.
And you're gonna be asked about this every day. You go out in the camp, somebody gonna ask, what about that MOTB?
You stop bringing up that goddamn rapist. That's all that's gonna happen. Because you gonna get mad. And it's already happening. You know, particularly your members may ask you, what about the mark of the beast? You listening to those bums? Hey, well, the scriptures say he's gonna leave an afflicted and poor people. So we'll take that. But you're a spiritual bum. And you through. You through, man, with the fringes on.
That GMS be teaching about. Okay, it says here there's a precept put up on the live. I'll just read it. Revelation 19, verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant. This is the angels, so you don't worship angels. That's in Colossians 2, verse 16 on down. The worshiping of angels, but you can worship the Lord. It says, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua, worship the Most High. For the spirit, it goes on to say, is the spirit of prophecy.
Right, and see, when you read this chapter, Lord will, we'll get into it on another day, but the wise virgins trimmed their lamps, meaning they kept them. They you know, they were prepared. They had light, but then, you know, they had oil to keep the lamps burning. But then when the foolish virgins ran out of oil and had no more light, then they came to the wise ones. Well, that's what you guys are going to be likening to. And then when the MOTB is clear as day coming, you niggas gonna try to pop, man, I always knew y'all was right, man, but I was caught between a rock and a hard place. Well, go preach. How about that? Now that if you believe now that we were saying is go preach it. Don't try to come around, all right, when it hit, okay, with that stupid ass look on your face, man. That's right. That's right your ass up the street and go preach with the truth. Anyway, man, shalom.